Welcome back to Footy Classified. The Sydney Swans were injury hit against North Melbourne on Saturday night, but in the end, Lordo, no great surprise. If you had a look at that side going in, the goal-kicking strength that came out of it, the midfield players that were out as well, North Melbourne should have won and they did, but the Swans, they were hurt. Spot on. You've got to have a bit of luck come the end of the year, and I see them similarly to Fremantle last year. You just got rotten luck at the business end. They tried hard, they were gallant, but just not good enough, Hutch. Well, are they going to be contending? I mean, there is a school of thought that their window's passed, and with some ageing stars and the retirement of goods, that perhaps, and of course the unresolved issue with Buddy Franklin, we're not sure exactly where that's going to go, but their back half worries me, Hutchie.
Yeah. Grundy, Richards, Pike didn't have his best night. We'll have a look at the moment. This is Grundy on the night.
3 points in it, Hutchie. This was a crucial mistake that he made. I've worried about Grundy for a while. He's been signed up for another 3 years, but to put your foot out, not get down low, either mark it or keep it in front of you, it was a bad moment.
That was a pivotal moment. They were charging there, and you just wondered why not. I mean, where was the desperation there?
How do they regenerate that back half? Because they've got the two older key positions. They lose Reece Shaw and Melcheski the year before. Joe McVeigh's not the player he was. They don't have a playmaker in the back half. Jetta, they tried there, is on the way out. They almost need a complete refurbishment of their back half.
Yeah, and they drafted a boy by the name of Alir a couple of years back who hasn't been able to get a chance to play or hasn't been good enough just yet. So it's a real worry for him.
Are they good academy boys, or either of them?
They're midfielders.
Yeah, and obviously they've now got more money to be able to trade with, so you'd think, as well as having a crack at Leuenberger, they'll have a crack at...
I heard Michael Talia's name from the Western Bulldogs linked to the Sydney Swans as a defender, which might be of interest. I thought Mike Pike playing forward was really strange. I mean, this was a side that was always going to battle to kick goals. I thought Tippett was their obvious. He's been good marking form. I thought he was the man that they go to. Tippett played... I don't know what the percentages were. It seemed to me at least 70% in the ruck in the first half anyway.
Well, I know the first quarter, Tippett did 6 centre bounces, Pike 0. Yeah. So, and I think when they needed someone to kick a goal for them, look at this, he was a bit of a liability at ground level.
He had no presence, Lloydie. I mean, you know better than anyone. I mean, he had no forward line presence. He wasn't leading to the right spots. Once the ball hit the deck, he wasn't able to put any pressure on. They did eventually concede that they had to have Tippett forward, and he started to turn it around for him.
Jetta was so big in their flag in 2012. Do you think he checked out of this season?
Well, his grand final was so bad as well. You're probably giving him a bit too much credit to say he checked out. I think that he had a pretty solid year this year, but I think finals it steps up again. I know he had that good series, but look at that. Average of 9 disposals across his last 3 finals. He'd be embarrassed by that because that's what you get remembered for.
And that will be his last game for Sydney.
Yes.
If Buddy had played, would they have won? I mean, that's not taking anything away from North, I promise.
No, they would have been far more competitive.
Structure would have been so different.
But, I mean, they've still got to work that out too. Tippett and Buddy playing well together is what they've got to try and come together. So it's an unknown. He makes a difference because of who he is, of course.
Just on Buddy, it wasn't a great week for journalism, I think, last week. And this is not directed at you, Carrie, this is directed at everyone. But I thought the coverage of the Buddy Franklin situation was poor last week. Them addressing the rumours and innuendo and social habits. And
I hope you're not talking about me.
No, I said that. I just did not hear what I said. Yeah, I said in general.
I wrote a piece about 10 days ago.
I think that putting rumours to Andrew Pridham and asking him to deny them and publishing them, I mean, all this did, and there were many people guilty of it, was inflame an already delicate situation, and I don't think it serves any purpose.
Well, you tell us, Hutchie, you're the journalist, and Carrie, you two are the journalists here. Why was that Mark Robinson?
Well, there could be rumour going around about you or about me. If I rang you and you denied it, then I said Garry Lyon denies rumours about this, everyone goes, oh, I didn't know about that. Is that what he's
okay, so Mark Robinson is the chief football writer of the Herald Sun, so, I mean, he knows journalism, so what's his thought process?
If you ring a president and put a rumour to him, what's he going to do? Of course he's going to deny it. Half the time I would think you're not expecting that it's going to be published against you, and all that is giving a whole new audience access to the rumour in the first place. Well, and if social media starts getting quoted...
Craig, I was pilloried by SEN the week before for using the word social media. I put my hand up. I used the word social media in the wrong way. I was quoting tweets, whatever they're called, from News Limited journalists, which came out the day the story broke. I call a comment on Twitter social media, but these were journalists with bylines from The Telegraph and one from the Herald Sun who talked about the rock star lifestyle, the party boy lifestyle. And I rang Mark Evans from the AFL and I rang Andrew Ireland from the Sydney Swans and I said, has illicit drugs got anything to do with this mental illness? And they completely denied it.
But by putting the illicit drugs into the public forum, you're inferring that you think there may be some truth to it.
Craig, when a player pulls out of football, like Lance Franklin, everybody immediately wonders and asks a question. When I quoted social media, I wrongly...
But that's not fair.
I should have referred to it as newspaper reports.
You don't know. You've got no idea what has contributed to his situation.
Of course I don't, and that's why I asked the question. And Craig...
And you're at the lesser end of those that did it, but the
Craig,
people
all
that
I'm saying
did
is I wasn't quoting social media. I was quoting journalists with bylines, and I called it social media wrongly because that's what I thought it was.
Why would you need to quote another journalist saying...
I didn't. I just said, obviously, these were things that were being said.
Why would you need to quote
because
and address another journalist?
If it's been reported by one of the most reputable and
on
biggest
Twitter.
News organisations in the country, it doesn't matter where it is.
Someone references something on Twitter and all of a sudden that gives us as an industry a chance to...
if it's a News Limited journalist, if it's Garry Lyon on Twitter, then it becomes...
Well, then why didn't you quote... So why didn't you say it was a News Limited? You said social media.
Well, that was probably my mistake. But Sydney understands what I was doing, and I think you had to ask the question about
Andrew Freedom was answering... we don't want to address the rumours here. We want to be above it. We've all made mistakes. I think as an industry, we failed the situation last week.
As an example, I'm not on social media, Hutchie, so I wasn't aware of any of the context of the rumours and wasn't interested in them at all until they were presented.
Then you see them in the paper and you go, is that what everyone's saying?
Well, I think it was perfectly fair when a player pulls out of footy to ask the question about illicit drugs and deny it, and I completely believe it. I don't think it's got anything to do with it.
I'll put it this way. If it had been somebody else other than Buddy Franklin, would you have mentioned or referenced illicit drugs? If it was Gary Ablett, if it was, say...
No,
Paddy Dangerfield. Would you have said, is Paddy Dangerfield on illicit drugs? And the Crows say no, and you go, denial, Paddy Dangerfield's not on illicit drugs.
I think we all know why I asked the question, Craig.
Now, you're inferring that you believe that there's something to that.
No, I don't.
And that's insensitive in the situation that we're in.
No, I'm not. And I think I reported that issue sensitively, and I thought what was said last week about me, I've only heard it secondhand, was completely ill-founded and unfair.
I'm not preaching on this. I think
the football industry, I'm going to interrupt you, was incredibly respectful and has been to this day about Lance Franklin. I was surprised about those rumours about the sexual stuff.
Don't acknowledge them again.
Oh, it was published in the Herald Sun, for heaven's sake. It's been on every radio station. Of course it's not true. I never believed it. I never reported it.
Denial stories on rumours.
No, I agree.
And I don't want to... I've made plenty of... heaps, more than most probably. But as an industry, we need to be a bit more sensitive.
I think you're being a bit hypocritical. Move on.
All right. Adam Treloar and the situation with Richmond and Collingwood. Carrie, what's really happening?